Now that I finally have a microphone, I thought that I'd begin with the very brief story of how I became an atheist. When I was 3 years of age, my parents and I visited a large, ornate building, and I happened to have some photos of the place. I didn't know what it was or why we were there, so I asked my father, and he told me that we were in the house of God. Of course, this was rather exciting to a 3-year-old. I'd heard of God, and here we were, come to visit him. I looked around and saw only people, so I asked, well, where's God? And my father said, well, God doesn't actually live here, that we just call it the house of God. I decided that this meant that God was invented by humans. Metaphor is just a little bit too subtle for a 3-year-old. I continued to be dubious of the things that I heard about God. In school, I heard Bible stories, stories of Jesus, stories of miracles. Now, I never really was convinced by the miracle stories. I thought that they had been invented to make the other stories more plausible, but to me, they made them less likely. I thought that there was a great deal of illogic in what I was told, and I found most of it unconvincing. However, many people did seem to believe, so I kept an open mind about the whole question. By the time I was 10 or 11, I needed something more definite, and I asked my mother why I should believe in God. Her response was to ask, well, how else could humans have come here to be here? I didn't find that very convincing either, particularly because I'd just been reading about the Miller-Urey experiments, and I thought the whole concept of primordial soup was rather an exciting explanation. I mean, experiments had been done, and it seemed more likely to me than Adam and Eve and God did it. I didn't know enough at this point to make a final decision, so I was an agnostic atheist. By the time I was 14 or 15 or 16, I read Milton's Paradise Lost, and Milton's God was thoroughly unpleasant. Vengeful, petty, egotistical, obnoxious, and unworthy of worship and unworthy of praise. So that finished me. I could not accept that anything that I had been told about Jesus or God seemed reasonable. And I was, in effect, a non-vocal, I suppose, in-the-closet atheist from there on for quite a number of years. Then I encountered intelligent design creationists on the internet, and that changed everything. But that's another story.